As tensions in Gaza simmer after more than 15 months of relentless war, a breakthrough may finally be on the horizon. According to Qatar, Israel and Hamas have reached a tentative agreement for a ceasefire and the release of hostages. The deal, which was mediated by Qatar, Egypt and the United States, comes after months of failed negotiations. Mediators, led by the Qatari Foreign Ministry, claim that they have managed to bridge key disagreements between the two sides. But the clock is ticking. With President-elect Donald Trump set to take office on the 20th of January, he has issued a stark warning in the past, declaring that there will be all hell to pay if hostages are not released before his inauguration. Meanwhile, the Biden administration, which is eager to secure a final diplomatic victory, has been pushing hard for a resolution as part of its legacy. Now, if this agreement holds, it could provide a glimmer of hope for Palestinians in Gaza, who have endured devastating bombardments, displacement, and the deaths of at least 45,000 people since the war began after Hamas's October 2023 attack. That attack, which killed around 1,200 Israelis and led to 250 hostages being taken to Gaza. All right, let me go across to my guest on Global Mirror. Adam Scott Bellos, CEO, Israel Innovation Fund, is joining me on Global Mirror to talk about this deal. Adam, good evening. Namaskar. Thank you very much for speaking with us on Global Mirror. Is the deal final, Adam? What's the word that's going on in Israel? We are hearing a lot of reports coming in. You had the U.S. Secretary of State address the media on West Asia right now, but he also did not confirm anything on whether Hamas has agreed to this deal.
First, thank you for having me again. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. The deal has not been confirmed yet. There is still some dissension amongst the further right factions of the Israeli government at this time. We won't know if the deal is official until the deal is announced officially. I'll be very interested to see if it does move forward. There are many issues that people do have, especially with the releasing of certain terrorists in order for this deal to go through. At the same time, the majority of the Israeli public is clearly behind supporting this deal. I think it's also very important for the Trump administration for their words to be taken seriously. If you think about the idea of all hell breaking loose coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, that's a very serious threat to certain Islamists in the region. So I'll be very interested to see. I assume in the next 24 hours, we will know that the deal will officially be pushed through. Recently, how can I say this very succinctly? It's very clear the Israeli public wants this deal to be pushed. It's very clear that people want the rest of the hostages to come home so that we can move past this specific issue in the war and continue to eliminate Israel's enemies.
Okay. Adam, a couple of aspects to this entire situation. There are, of course, multiple facets to this entire war. But let's go with this one by one. You had Antony Blinken right now talk about West Asia, and he once again pushed for the two-state solution. He said that, a two-state solution is required for Palestine, provided that Hamas does not lead Palestine, number one. And number two, he said that Israel has to understand that, this deal needs to go through and there needs to be peace in the region, specifically at Gaza and West Bank, because the kind of peace accord that Israel has reached with the Arab nations, that might be impacted because Arab nations will have pressure from their own citizens to walk away from that peace accord. How do you see that?
I think that anything that comes out of any representative of the Biden administration should be ignored. They have no power in the region or really in the globe. Since Donald Trump won a sweeping election, it's been very clear whose policy has been pushing everything forward. If you recently watched Secretary Blinken's interview, I think it was with 60 Minutes or one of the other major news outlets in America, he admitted that the strategy of pressuring Israel publicly did not actually enhance hostage negotiations. It emboldened Hamas to, I guess you could say, plant their feet further in the ground. I would say the fact that the Biden administration was unable to expand the Abraham Accords and that you had two major wars that have changed the geopolitical reality around the world as a result of those wars erupting under this administration, I think it's very clear that any statement about policy or future peace processes by any representative of the Biden administration should be ignored and not taken seriously, especially if it's the perpetuation of a Western-style peacemaking approach that has been seen to fail in this region of the world for almost 3 decades.
And would the Israelis then trust Donald Trump 100%, considering the, quintessential Trump that he is? He can be erratic in his ways. He can be unpredictable also. Do you think the Israeli administration would have that kind of trust in Donald Trump?
I think that Donald Trump and his administration were able to secure more peace processes and more treaties than any other presidency or State Department in the history of the State Department and the presidency. So I think the track record for former president and president-elect Donald Trump speaks for itself. I think that the fact that as soon as Donald Trump was elected, a new hostage deal was to be pushed forward. And clearly, there's a deadline of January 20th, very similar to the way the Islamic Republic of Iran released the hostages prior to Ronald Reagan taking office. I think that there is major coinciding of a way the world should work and how peacemaking should be done when it comes to the Israelis and the Trump administration.
But you know what, Adam, you're giving a lot of credit to Donald Trump, and understandably so, but it is the Biden administration which has been going through all of these talks since the past more than a year.
I mean, and what results have we seen from that? Absolutely nothing. I think the Biden administration is very much responsible for a lot of the global unrest that we've seen over the last 4 years.
A bit of credit to the Biden administration as well, Adam?
The main negotiator has been the new hostage czar that Trump appointed. It's not Mr. Blinken. I think it's very clear that there was a major misstep in the approach to how this deal and how deals in the past were made. I think the change in language since Trump has been elected is clearly evident, and the results are now clearly evident. You did not see the type of language that Trump used and has used about this conflict come from the Biden administration. I'm sorry. While there was maybe some words of support right after October 7th, clearly the same type of diplomatic game wanted to be played by this administration, thinking that their style of peacemaking could work when clearly since the Obama administration and their approach to geopolitics in general, and let's face it, this administration is really Obama's administration. It just has a different face as commander-in-chief at this time, has been a complete and utter failure. Not only did it internally destroy the fabric of the society of the United States, but it also eroded America's standing in the world. I don't think that the Biden administration can take credit for any of this. I think that if they wanted to turn their warships on Qatar and say after October 7th, on October 8th, 9th, and 10th, either hand over the leaders of Hamas and have these hostages released, or we're firing on Qatar, given that the amount of money that the United States gives to Qatar and the fact that one of the largest military bases is there, I think it's absolutely irresponsible to give credit to an administration that has seen the perpetuation of 2 major global conflicts. I do not think they have any role in the winding down of this conflict at all.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Adam. Let's see when that official announcement does come after that Hamas agreement, which we're all keeping a close watch on. Thank you very much for joining us at the moment and sharing your perspective, ladies and gentlemen.